Hi, I'm Rivera, and today I'm going to be showing you two interviews that I did last week. One with a new student and another with a returning teacher. And the point of these interviews were to show just how environment impacts our learning and how it maybe impacts yours as well. Enjoy!
Okay, yeah, so time starts now.
Okay, so today we are here to discuss the environment and how it really affects our learning. So the Mastery School, it's this beautiful campus, there's so much greenery, these nice antiquated buildings, but how does it compare to maybe any less privileged environments you've been in the past?
I think we're all really excited to be able to do our learning right where we are. I think we talk a lot about why our where matters,
Yes.
And being located right here, right where Glenville and University Circle meet. I think for us is in terms of Hawkins history, a return home. Actually, you probably know
Yeah.
that the school was founded in 1915 on Ansel Road, so there's a lovely history that we're able to sort of return to 100 years later, which we're all really excited about. But as we know, like Cleveland, like many cities, like many Rust Belt cities, like many just major U.S. cities, is one that's experienced lots of waves in prosperity and shifts in the demographics of their communities. I think for us, it's a perfect place to learn about what America is, where. What are the really lovely positives that we can find? And how do we envision ourselves in contributing to its growth and evolution in a positive way as students and as a school community? And I think one thing that's been at the top of our mind is with that in mind, I think it's a perfect place actually to think about what it means for a school community to be committed to social justice and practice that. So when I think about that, I think we have a really wonderful opportunity to have a mix of students from really the broadest range of neighborhoods in Northeast Ohio to come together and do our learning right here. It's just a really phenomenal opportunity. That makes sense. Have us all take advantage of it.
So you are actually a founding member of a Hawken Mastery School. So did the environment of this lovely neighborhood really did you guys build the school around the environment or the environment around the school?
That's a great question. I would say perhaps a bit of both. I think we were fortunate enough to come into possession of these buildings, and this is such a historic, as you mentioned, area. The buildings themselves are super historic and lovely. And I think it adds a really cool, gravitas to being able to do our learning here, which I think we all love. As much as the buildings are our classrooms, as we've been sort of talking tonight, as I hear in your question, really this neighborhood, this region is our classroom as well. So how cool is it to be able to think about design, or to think about identity and representation, and then being able to go to a world-class museum and see how artists over history have had a chance to reflect that, to sort of explore questions about like what does belonging look like, and do that in conversation with art, or to want to to explore music offerings and have a partnership with local music organizations in our neighborhood. So I would say it's a bit of both. I think we have definitely tried to build around the neighborhood and to explore questions about what it means to be a good neighbor, and think about what does it look like and feel like for our neighbors. What do they think it looks like to be a good neighbor, and then to try and do that. But I think it's also us hoping to not just to be in relationships where we are givers only, or to think about ourselves as givers only, but also to recognize that we have a lot to learn from our community, and to position ourselves in that sort of like with that sort of cultural and intellectual humility, to sort of open ourselves to be able to learn and grow alongside our neighbors.
For sure. And then one last question. Thank you so much for being here. How would you say the environment impacts you personally? at a school?
Yeah. I love Cleveland. I'm not a native Clevelander, but it's really a place I've come to grow. I've grown to really love over since my time here. I think it's really a microcosm, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, of many other movements in our country, or like just phenomena. Whether you're talking socially, whether you're talking economically, we're talking in terms of housing and zoning patterns. It's a great microcosm of of lots of trends you see in other parts of the country. And so I think that is something that has all of us really excited to be working this, and also not just to be having that be what our project is for professionally, but also to be able to incorporate to put students at the center of that, thinking about who we will be. I think it's just a really wonderful challenge and opportunity that we all get to embrace. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, pleasure.
Great.
Yeah, nice job, guys. Yeah,
Awesome.
Awesome host.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice.
So as soon as you start filming.
Time starts now.
Okay, so Kyla, you're a new student at the Mastery School, correct?
I am. First year freshman.
So what school are you coming from?
I went to Citizens Leadership Academy grades 6 through 8, so that's my middle school. And then I went to the exact same school, grades K through 3, and then I went to Noble Academy, Euclid, Ohio, grades 4 and 5.
Oh, that's great. So how do you think that environment sort of compares to the Mastery School environment?
It's actually like really different at the Mastery School here. It's way more diverse, I can tell you that. It's you get a lot more freedom when it comes to making your own decisions. I mean, it is your education, so it has to be up to you. I feel like at the other schools, they kind of try to decide everything for you, and they try to keep up with the traditional learning experience, I guess, and it doesn't really give the students the time and space to grow as who they are on their own, because at the end of the day, when you get out in the real world, it's not going to be the same thing for everybody. It'll be something different, and I really appreciate that the Mastery School it embraces that everybody's going to have a different journey in life. So when you have to go out there and do it on your own, it's better to have experienced something like that in high school, and the Mastery School gives that to us.
For sure. Are there any comparisons between the environment at your old schools and then the environment here, and how that affects you for better, for worse?
I will say that at my old school, you kind of always felt like there was a pair of eyes watching you, and so you kind of felt pressure to do the right thing all the time. But then at the same time, it kind of gave you a vibe where you feel like you had to be sneaky to do things that weren't even bad.
Yes.
But here, it's you don't really have to hide anything. It's a pretty open school. All the teachers are open they're pretty flexible with what you need to do as yourself, and I think that really helps us because, like we said, everybody's different. Everybody has a different journey that they have to take to get to where they need to get to. So in comparison, when you put it in perspective, it's you have to you're sheltered in one situation and you can't really be who you are. You just kind of have to follow the rules and be the good kid. Yeah. And then in another situation, it's you can be yourself and you can just kind of learn to grow as yourself, and you really get through that. It's really different, and it helps a lot.
Yeah. So one last question.
Okay.
Is there any stories that you could tell me where the environment personally sort of affected how you went about your day?
I have a couple stories actually. There's it's happened a lot. In middle school, grades 6 through 8, there was a lot of situations where I kind of couldn't feel like I could be the best version of me because of what was happening around me. There were situations where there was a teacher present and there'd be dozens of kids in the classroom asking for help or asking for this and asking for that, and the teacher just kind of simply ignored it. And I think that the problem with that is we come to school, a lot of people's school is an escape for them. Me, myself, it really isn't. It's just kind of a thing that I know I need and I actually enjoy doing. So when I come here to do what I need to do. I have fun and I handle that as a mature person, we can say, whereas in middle school you don't really get the opportunity to do that because your community and the environment around you, it affects you. It really does. If it's loud, if it's chaotic, you can't thrive in that kind of area. And here, you have the opportunity to walk away from situations. You can go, you can sit by yourself, you can do work on your own, and with as much group work as we do here, I think that it really helps with that because you don't have to communicate with people on a level where you feel uncomfortable, but it helps with that.
So this was a great chat, and thank you so much for coming.
For having me.
Hi again. Thank you so much for watching these interviews, and I hope you're walking out this with a little bit of kindness and a lot of empathy. Thank you.